That was a loud bing.
All right, we are back live with you. The 33rd pick was just made by the Cincinnati Bengals, taking T Higgins, a wide receiver, off the board. A potential Patriots pick that you think that the Bengals just stole?
I don't think so. I think the Patriots have had enough of guys that run in the 4.6s at wide receiver. Get a guy that may be a little bit more explosive, I would hope. But T Higgins is one of those players that had great tape in college, but it was certainly the pro day that had a lot of people kind of talking afterwards about the unimpressive 40 time, the 3-cone, that kind of stuff. So athletically didn't really test very well, but when you turn on the tape, he is a big time playmaker, guy that can really go up and get it, has great body control at the catch point, and just ability to really catch everything within his radius. And had some flashes of good press releases as well, has some time in there where he's got some good footwork and things like that. So I understand why they took the player, big time player from a big time school, but definitely not the highest receiver on my board personally.
Yeah, I think, he's got great hands, and you love to start there with a guy, as opposed to like, Rager, who went yesterday to, did he go to the Eagles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a guy who catches the ball inconsistently a little bit, and we know how Eagles fans have reacted to that over the years. But I think, Higgins, he's a very safe, solid guy. It looks like another wide receiver is about to go off the board. Michael Pittman, who a lot of people like for the Patriots, a good sort of all-around guy. But, as we could see, like Evan has talked about, I don't think there's a whole lot difference between these guys and a lot of other receivers at this point in the draft. And if I'm the Patriots, they have, whether it's Mohamed Sanu or N'Keal Harry, even though I like Harry coming back for a second season. I mean, you're talking about guys who aren't game breakers. They're good possession guys. The Patriots need to add some speed and some playmaking ability. And those are probably guys you take risks on a little bit later.
Here's why the Cincinnati Bengals went with T Higgins. If you look at what they did, this is mirrors 2011, and I'm sure George would confirm this. When they took Andy Dalton, they took AJ Green, and I think Mike Brown has always fallen, kind of like Al Davis, has always fallen in love with the passing game. Only he likes the big, lanky receivers. And T Higgins, I believe he's 6'4", has had the longest arms of any receiver in the draft. And he very much mirrors the game of AJ Green. Will he be as successful? Well, certainly in college at a powerhouse school like Clemson, he was very, very productive. But that's what the Bengals are thinking at this point. They want to pair a wide receiver with their future franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow, and that's all this was about.
T Higgins, Michael Pittman, 2 wide receivers off the board as the first 2 picks in the second round of the draft. Drop all of your questions in our live stream here on our YouTube channel. We're going to take you up to the Patriots pick at number 37. Hey, maybe they'll even pick a player tonight that we can discuss. But guys, we're now only a few picks away. What is your gut instinct? Do the Patriots pick here at 37?
My gut tells me yes. And I don't know. I know that the rumors are that they're trying to trade down. I don't know. I just kind of feel like at this point in the draft, they're going to start to lose some of those blue chip talents. And if you trade down too much, you're starting to get yourself in a position where there's not going to be a ton of game changers left in some of their positions of need. Or maybe they are going to trade down and target one of those tight ends. But it just feels like right now with Pittman and Denzel Mims probably going here shortly as well, and T Higgins off the board, some of these receivers we're getting a little bit of a run of the pass catchers now. I think the Patriots should probably pounce.
What about a tight end? I think Cole Kmet's a possibility here if they
so
like.
Early for Kmet.
Yeah, it might be, but if they like him enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the run on tight ends will last a little bit later, so maybe they do want to trade down and get some more draft capital. But I think, I'm more in Evan's camp where I think, if these players like Gross Matos and Epinenza and McKinney are still available, I mean, those are first round talents. I mean, you're talking about guys who can play right away, and to grab them early in the second round, I think that's too good a value to pick up. I mean, Epinenza is a guy who I see more of like a, and you guys might disagree, I see more of a Van Noy type, you know,
Right.
sort of a, you know, he's bigger than Van Noy, but that kind of strong side, you know, seal the edge in the running game, brings you a little bit of pass rush, really smart, good ball player. And Gross Matos I see is more of a Chandler Jones type. I would take a chance on him here just because I think the upside is there as far as the pass rush. But I think those two guys in particular, McKinney also, you know, as a safety out at Alabama, I think those are three guys who are really sort of, you know, day one almost starters for you. And to get those guys in the second round, I think that's hard to value to pick up, to pass on at this point.
I think that's a great
just took
point.
DeAndre Swift from Georgia. So a run here of skill players is starting to go. So the Patriots, I just feel like, Greg, I think you made great points about the defensive talent that's getting to this point of the draft, that all these skill players are starting to go here. You know, even going back into last night, at the end of the first round, there was a bunch of skill players that went there as well, you know, with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Brandon Ayuk and some of those players too. So I think that right now the Patriots are sitting pretty with a couple of different defensive players that probably were first round talents in a lot of people's eyes that are going to be up on the board at 37.
And we talked about three names that could have been possible first round picks for the Patriots really for a couple weeks now that are still on the board. There's only one pick ahead of the Patriots now, and those three guys are still left. We're talking AJ Epineza, Zach Bond, Denzel Mims. All three of those guys are available. Do you think one of them could be grabbed by the Patriots next?
I'm going to guess yes, just for the reason that Greg pointed out. It's an outstanding point. When you have a chance to get first round talent in the second round, isn't that kind of the definition of value added? That's what the Patriots are looking to do. That probably was the initial reason why they felt so comfortable last night trading down into the second round with the Chargers, figuring a defensive player that they think is a first round talent would be available at number 37. I think it's going to be Epinenza.
Yeah, so Xavier McKinney is going to the Giants here with this next pick. So he just fell off the board there. So the Patriots are on the clock right now at 37.
Are they? How about this? What if the Patriots drafted another Georgia running back for the third straight? Wait, did he go yet?
Yeah, Swift just went off.
Swift went. Sorry. Okay.
Thank God.
But yeah, I'm glad that maybe they saved Bill Belichick from himself with that. We get a third
Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's out there.
Oh, God, man.
I know.
I just can't believe that they would pass on Epinenza at this point.
Right.
It's great value for him here at 37. He's a guy that should have been a first round pick, knocked down by the combine. It really fits their mold perfectly, either weak side defensive end with his hand on the ground, or as Greg was saying, a strong side guy more in like the Kyle Van Noy mold. I think that they can really get a good player there that they can plug and play and start him next year and really understand that he's going to be technically sound and play the system the way they want it to be played.
I mean, that's really where they're sort of lacking. I mean, they have Chase Winovich really should, take sort of the weak side playmaker role where Gross Matos would sort of be. And I think they feel good about where Chase is. Where they're really lacking, I mean, they have John Simon, they have Shalik Calhoun, on the other side, but those are, really sort of, low bar type of guys. And I think that Epinenza has a chance to, be a day one starter and be a difference maker there and really not be a huge drop off from Van Noy.
Agreed.
Patriots on the clock. In a couple minutes, it's seeming like we're going to have a player to react to, like we said. Offensive or defensive side of the ball, it's looking defensive. Evan, we know you like Epinenza here. Is there a chance that they take a flyer on a wideout?
I mean, Denzel Mims is sitting right there. And from a size, speed, measurable standpoint, he obviously checks a lot of boxes for every team in that regard with that type of athletic profile. But as an ex-receiver, this is the type of guy that they usually go for. This is as much as I don't want to make this comparison because I know Patriots fans are going to kill me for it, but this is Chad Jackson. This is Aaron Dobson. This is N'Keal Harry. This is that kind of player, but I think maybe a little bit better of just a pure playmaker than those guys were. That they don't need all that kind of maturation and development. I think he can be a guy that comes in year one and starts to make an impact for you. So from that perspective, he's as close to a perfect box checker for the Patriots at wide receiver. So if they want to go that route, he's sitting right there for them, and that will add some 4.38 speed, some real big time explosion for them on the outside.
That's where, that's not to cut you off, Greg, but that's where I think the Patriots are sorely lacking. And really, I think whether you're a fan or whether you're scouting the Patriots, you realize the lack of breakaway speed. And I think that is something, maybe with a new quarterback coming in, obviously with Jarrett Stidham, and if they stick with Stidham or whoever it is, they are going to probably want somebody that gives the quarterback a chance to stretch the field and take the top off the defense a little bit.
Yeah, I think that, when we were talking about adding offensive players that are difference makers, that are playmakers, I think that Mims absolutely has that type of potential. Do the Patriots see him as their type of guy? I'm not sure, but that's the type of guy that I would take, a risk on. They have Edelman, they have Harry, they have Sanu. I know they have high hopes for Damiere Byrd, who they got from Arizona, and they think he's a big upgrade on Philip Dorsett. But Mims has the type of measurables that just don't come around very often, and so you almost want to take a chance on a guy like that.
We put a Twitter poll out on our Patriots CLNS account earlier today asking fans who they want to see the Patriots pick at 37. And we got a lot of write-ins that weren't in the poll saying Jalen Hurts, but you guys think this would be way too early to draft Hurts?
Yes, way too early. And the Patriots, it's just not their MO to reach on a position.
Boy. So the Patriots took Kyle Duggar from Lionel Wren. So they just took a safety from a D2 safety, excuse me, who absolutely destroyed the combine. Just an incredible combine tester, flies around the field. I mean, you see he's a man amongst boys at that level, but there's a lot of growth that needs to be there. This is a big time developmental prospect for them right now that needs to kind of see if he can own up to this level of competition and also improve some of his instincts and kind of just feel for the game overall from that spot. This is a reach. This is not a reach on a guy that's not a bad athlete. It's not Jordan Richards, but it's a reach on a safety that I probably pegged for the end of the third round, maybe the fourth round, taking him here at 37.
It's just, another draft where second round safety type, you're just like, okay, Bill. But there's a ton of upside with Duggar, and he should be much more than a special teams guy like some of the guys that they've taken. I like the pick. It's an area at safety where they have to get younger. They have Devin McCourty, they have Patrick Chung, they signed Adrian Phillips, who should be a really good ball player for them. But I think Duggar has the type of versatility that you just find a spot for him and see what he can do with it.
Well, of course, none of the names we were just discussing, Ebenezer, Bond, Mims, none of those guys taken. Do you think that you guys said Duggar, great combine, you liked the choice, but did the Patriots strike out here?
Oh, man. I mean, this is a reach for me. I think that the biggest thing that I see with Duggar is that it's a lot of projection with his role. I think that he's a really good instinctive player in some regards, but against the run especially, and he can really take on blocks. I think the biggest problem that I have with it is I'm not sure where he plays. Where is he best fit in that system? Probably a strong safety prospect that plays a little bit in the box and maybe guards corners, slot receivers, as a slot corner. The one thing I will say, though, is that Bill Belichick was down there at the Senior Bowl, and he got a nice look at Kyle Duggar down there. And I think he had a pretty damn good week down in Mobile from everything that I heard. And really in one-on-ones especially showed that he can really lock down tight ends and slot receivers as a man corner kind of in the one-on-ones at Mobile. So there is a lot of upside with this pick, tons of upside, but you're really talking about a guy that has a lot to prove in terms of his ability to play from the D2 level to the NFL level. But at the same time, at D2, he dominated. He was a man amongst boys, and he really flashed a ton on tape with just incredible athleticism that really is obvious.
You know what, Evan and Greg, listening to you both, this sounds like Isaiah Simmons, maybe a poor man's version of, but when you take a look at Isaiah Simmons with Clemson, they put him all over the field, right? Well, maybe this could be a situation where they project Duggar being able to do the same thing for the Patriots down the road. This pure speculation and projection on my part, but that is got to be what they were thinking, that we all know how the Patriots love versatility and love a player who can not only be versatile but adapt to what they are trying to teach them and pick it up right away. And maybe that's what they see and saw in their virtual interviews with them.
He's also a 4-down player. I think that's important to mention as well. I know you don't really care about that in the top 40, but the fact is that he's going to be able to cover kicks and he can return punts as well. He had 6 career punt return touchdowns at the D2 level at Liner Wren as well, and really was an impressive punt returner. So he has that ability to play on all 4 downs, play in the box, play deep. He's a very versatile guy. I can understand the pick from that standpoint. I'm not surprised that they went and got him at any point in this draft, but it's just a little bit early for my liking.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be, I think we're setting up a Patriots draft where we're going to be comparing, a lot of these players that they passed on, whether it was at 23 or now, with the edge players, Gross Matos and Epinenza, we're going to be comparing Kyle Duggar to a lot of these guys, because I think for most people, this was a little bit early for Duggar. Like Evan said, he did do a really nice job at the Senior Bowl. That was big for him coming from a small school like Lenore-Rhyne. But this is a risky pick. I mean, for the first pick in the post Tom Brady era, to be a small school safety, especially with Belichick's sort of track record with safeties in this round, it's a risky pick. It really is.
Well, I suppose it's true that the Patriots really could have gotten their guy at 37 that they were going to pick at 23 if it was Kyle Duggar. Obviously, we'll continue to see if this was the right choice. It'll take a little while for us to realize if it is the first choice. A lot of people in the comments disappointed because they think that they could have gotten Duggar if they were that married to him later in the draft, because maybe there weren't a lot of other organizations as high on him as the Patriots were. So before we sign off until the Patriots picks later in the 3rd round, guys, final words on Kyle Duggar, the safety. Was it too early?
Well, I think that it makes a lot of sense now that we heard those rumors earlier in the day that the Patriots were trying to trade down again, because they definitely probably could have gotten Kyle Duggar a little bit later than this. My guess is they just didn't love the trades that were being offered to them to move down in this round, so they just decided to pick the player. And I think that that's what we're looking at. And maybe, just maybe, it's the end of Patrick Chung in New England as well, because you look at his skill set with Duggar, very similar type of guy that I think is going to be a versatile kind of Swiss Army knife type player, not necessarily just a center fielder, but probably more of a box safety, linebacker, slot defender, that type of guy. So maybe Chung with Adrian Phillips around and Terrence Brooks around, and now you add Duggar into that mix, it starts to get a little bit heavy in that spot.
What this proves to me, guys, is that the Patriots have their board and they're going to stick with their board. And where they have a particular player, in this case, Kyle Duggar, is not the way other teams and obviously other people on the outside view it. And they saw their guy and had the pick, and they were going to go get their guy, and that's what they did.
Yeah, one thing I want to bring up with him is that, and I think this is sort of lording over a lot of the Patriots drafts is, they're going to have to compete against the Chiefs and the Ravens. And I think that, the more faster guy, and we saw them get exposed at times with their lack of speed on defense. And we've talked about their need to increase speed on both sides of the ball. And, I do think Duggar does that. And he gives you sort of another weapon. I could see them in some games, going with, 4 safeties on the field at the same time, whether that's, McCourty, Chung, Phillips, and Duggar in some sort of, role, depending on who they're playing. And, now with Tua in the division, I think they have to defend in different ways. So I think, you could look at this as sort of, a transition pick, but you want to say that and be optimistic, but you also look at, some of Bill's recent history with second round safeties, and you're a little bit more cautious.
We'll have more Kyle Duggar coverage on our website soon at clnsmedia.com. We'll also be joining you back here on our YouTube channel, CLNS Media, live in the later parts of the night as the Patriots get closer to being on the clock yet again. If they make a trade, we'll jump on here as fast as we can to keep you guys updated and react along with you. So follow along on our Twitter at Patriots CLNS for all the links. Thanks for joining us.